Welcome to Hero Villains. Who do you think would win when Trigon and Doctor Strange the Destroyer Demon face off against the Sorcerer Supreme? Trigon is an ancient demonic entity from another dimension, born from pure darkness and an endless hunger for conquest. He possesses near godlike power capable of manipulating reality, bending space, and destroying entire worlds with a mere thought. Trigon's presence alone is enough to shake dimensions, and his wrath often brings about the collapse of civilizations. He requires no complex strategy. Trigon is the embodiment of absolute power and pure domination. Doctor Strange, whose real name is Stephen Strange, is the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, the guardian of reality against supernatural threats. He commands countless ancient spells, from summoning mystical entities and manipulating time to sealing away dangerous dimensions. Unlike Trigon, Doctor Strange's strength lies in his intellect, knowledge, and adaptability when facing enemies beyond ordinary comprehension. In this confrontation, Trigon represents pure destructive force, overwhelming through scale and limitless power. Doctor Strange, on the other hand, is a master of control, using magic, strategy, and willpower to stand against an almost invincible entity. Before we dive deeper into the analysis, please subscribe to the channel and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much for your support. Trigon is the pure embodiment of terror, an interdimensional demon whose power surpasses all conventional standards. He was born from the discarded evil energies of the people of Azarath, beings who believed they could seal evil away forever. That very decision created Trigon, a being who not only betrayed his creators but annihilated them entirely, turning Azarath into a blood-soaked reminder of a fatal mistake. From childhood, Trigon displayed absurd levels of power. At just 1 year old, he had already conquered the planet on which he existed. By the age of 6, that world was destroyed by his will alone. At 30, Trigon had seized control of his entire dimension, becoming an absolute lord whom no one dared to challenge. His gaze alone was enough to erase a planet without armies or weapons, relying solely on the pure will of destruction. Trigon did not stop at conquering worlds. He hunted gods, slaughtered them, and wore the skins of beings once worshipped. He is regarded as equal in power to the Spectre, an assessment that makes even cosmic overseers wary. He does not fear the Phantom Stranger, nor does he fear the Presence. Because in Trigon's mind, no authority stands above himself. The existence of Raven, his daughter, does not weaken Trigon, but instead twists his ambition further. When he grows bored of what he has conquered, Trigon repeatedly seeks to invade Raven's universe, becoming the greatest threat the Teen Titans have ever faced. Trigon is not merely a villain. He is a living catastrophe, an ancient obsession, proof that evil sometimes needs no reason to exist. Within his own domain, Trigon is considered even superior to the Spectre when unbound, a terrifying notion when one recalls the true power of the Spectre in a state of complete freedom. During the Crisis on Infinite Earths event, the fifth-dimensional imp, Mr. MXZPTLK, temporarily separated Jim Corrigan from the Spectre, releasing the full power of this spirit of vengeance and allowing it to confront the Anti-Monitor directly. What must be noted is that the Anti-Monitor at that time was not his usual form. Normally, he is a multiversal entity existing on the 6th plane. In that moment, however, he was further empowered by the entirety of the positive multiverse along with the antimatter universe, causing his strength to surge to unimaginable levels. Simply put, he was many times stronger than his normal self, yet a fully free Spectre could still contend with such a being. And Trigon, within his own realm, is said to stand above even that level. Even when weakened, Trigon remains powerful enough to rival fifth-dimensional entities such as Mr. MXZPTLK. This is almost insane, as beings from that dimension are considered capable of destroying an infinite multiverse at the 4th dimensional level, if they unleash their full power. This reality transforms Trigon from a powerful demon into a true cosmic nightmare. He rules not only through strength, but through his his very status of existence. When Trigon is present, the boundary between divinity and nothingness becomes blurred, and every concept of safety within the multiverse turns into a fragile illusion. It must be emphasized that Trigon's magical abilities are ranked on par with the Lords of Chaos and Order, entities who stand at the pinnacle of universal power, as well as Nabu, the ancient god who bestowed power upon the Helmet of Fate. Being placed on the same scale as such existences shows that Trigon's magic is not only powerful, but also primordial in nature. In the beginning, Trigon ruled over a distant, unnamed planet. His power was so immense that 3 alien beings known as the Divine Ones were forced to intervene in an attempt to cleanse his soul of the spreading evil. They summoned the Great Heart of Darkness, an entity containing accumulated evil from hundreds of galaxies, hoping it would consume and erase Trigon's dark nature. The plan backfired. Trigon was not destroyed. Instead, he absorbed the entire power of the Great Heart of Darkness, making it part of his own being. With this newfound power, he effortlessly destroyed countless worlds. In a frenzy of victorious madness, Trigon killed the Divine Ones and revealed the horrifying truth that they themselves were his creators. He then tore them apart and wore the skin of those who had once sought to punish him. Trigon chose a path even more cruel. He summoned women from countless worlds, planted the seed of life within them, and sent them back to their home realm. The children who carried Trigon's blood became instruments for spreading evil, allowing his darkness to silently destroy countless universes. This was not merely power, but a legacy of destruction that stretched across space and time, turning the name Trigon into a curse that would never fade. Trigon possesses a unique form of immortality that places him above the ordinary laws of life and death. He cannot die from natural causes such as the erosion of time or old age. Regardless of whether his body changes or not, the inevitable end faced by all living beings can never reach Trigon. However, he can still be destroyed by unnatural forces, making his immortality both terrifying and deeply paradoxical. More importantly, even if his body and soul are annihilated, Trigon retains the ability to regenerate, returning from nothingness as if death were only a brief interruption. The presence of Trigon always brings catastrophe. When he turns his gaze toward Earth, the sky is torn apart by violent storms, the oceans rage, and the ground trembles as if resisting an invading god. Trigon once unleashed a magical attack known as Hellfire, a stream of pure evil energy powerful enough to weaken even Swamp Thing, the entity bound to the life force of the planet. Trigon also has the ability to distort and reconstruct reality at will. His magic has warped the world, reshaping Earth into a reflection of himself, a living hell where evil reigns supreme. For Trigon, conquest is not merely a goal, but the essence of his existence. He is a demonic invader, a dark god worshipped by the Church of Blood, and within that twisted faith, Trigon is seen as the supreme being, the one who will rule all realities with eternal darkness. I truly hope you will subscribe to the channel. It would help us tremendously, and you are absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Now, let us talk about Doctor Strange. Stephen Strange was once a brilliant surgeon, a man with golden hands and an ego even sharper than a scalpel. Fame and pride surrounded him like invisible armor, until a cruel car accident stole his ability to practice medicine and plunged Strange into the depths of despair. In that hopeless state, he sought out the Ancient One with a single hope of healing his shattered hands. What he received was not physical restoration, but a doorway into the mystical world. The Ancient One forged Strange into a master of the mystic arts, and eventually the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth. The source of Strange's power does not come from innate supernatural ability, but from intellect, willpower, and mastery over the natural and supernatural energies that exist throughout the universe. Through his connection to powerful forces, Strange can perceive the true essence of reality and understand the fragile structure of space, time, and the soul. Doctor Strange draws cosmic energy from various dimensions, especially his home dimension, to fuel his magic. He wields legendary artifacts such as the Eye of Agamotto and the Cloak of Levitation, along with many other mystical tools like staffs, scepters, and wands. Through them, Strange can unleash energy, teleport instantly, travel across dimensions, create illusions, summon entities, and erect formidable magical barriers. A defining aspect of Doctor Strange's magic is that he does not need to pray to gods or demonic beings, nor does he rely on his own life force to wield power. His magic is shaped by profound understanding of the universe, turning knowledge into strength and will into a weapon. This is what makes Doctor Strange not merely a sorcerer, but a silent gatekeeper who stands at the fragile boundary between order and chaos. Doctor Strange embodies defensive and control-based magic at the highest level. He can create nearly impenetrable protective shields capable of withstanding explosions powerful enough to erase the Earth. These barriers are not merely walls of energy, but crystallizations of arcane knowledge and iron will, allowing Strange to stand firm against the most destructive forces in the universe. Strange once restrained Zolaz, a highly dangerous alien sorcerer, and even endured the overwhelming force of an empowered attack from Galactus. These feats have led him to be regarded as one of the greatest Sorcerer Supremes to have ever existed. Strange is not only powerful in magic, but also in his understanding of the mind, fully aware of the fragile line between reason and madness. There was a time when Doctor Strange drained the entire flow of magic on Earth, turning the silence of sorcery into an ultimate weapon. With a single whisper, he was capable of extinguishing an entire conflict before it could even erupt. Strange has fought Dormammu on equal footing, confronted Loki and Malekith directly, bound Galactus during a frenzy of cosmic power, and defeated the Silver Surfer through both intellect and strength. He has also overpowered ancient gods and possesses a rare form of cosmic awareness. He once sensed the moment when Mephisto quietly twisted reality, a sign that Strange's perception reaches far beyond ordinary space and time. With such awareness, Doctor Strange easily places himself above countless Marvel characters, even making Thanos wary of the Sorcerer. Doctor Strange has repeatedly proven his power. He once defeated Nightmare while that entity was empowered, and subdued the Scarlet Witch within the House of M reality, where willpower itself could reshape the world. Even without holding the title of Sorcerer Supreme, Strange was still capable of confronting the entire Avengers team at once. Space and dimensions are merely adjustable concepts to Strange. He sealed the rifts between dimensions within the Eternal Realm, shattered the mystical bindings of the Living Tribunal, and tore apart the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, a source of power once believed to be unshakable. Even in the face of primordial energy at the core of the sun, capable of triggering the destruction of astral forms, Strange charged forward without hesitation, frightening Mordo into retreat. Doctor Strange once held Thanos at bay, while the Mad Titan possessed 4 Infinity Stones, and through the Mirror Dimension, he blocked a direct strike from the Power Stone. During the No Way Home event, a single flawed spell caused the multiverse to fracture, a chaotic feat that very few Marvel characters could ever achieve, even by accident. Strange's power stems from his deep mastery of the mystic arts. His primary magical patrons are the Vishanti, a divine trinity consisting of Agamotto, Hoggoth, and Oster, representing light, wisdom, and protection. Although in rare moments Strange once sought aid from demonic entities such as Dormammu, this mainly occurred before he fully understood their true dark nature. Doctor Strange can separate his soul from his body instantly and at will. In this form, he does not need to breathe, eat, drink, or sleep, is not bound by physical laws, as demonstrated when Strange flew beyond Earth's atmosphere and effortlessly defied gravity while speaking with Iron Man. He can become invisible unless he chooses otherwise, and he cannot be harmed by any means except the most powerful and severe mystical forces. During his encounter with Thor, Strange transformed a cup of tea into a large mug of beer that could magically refill itself, leaving Thor astonished and delighted. After Bruce Banner crashed through the roof of the Sanctum, Strange seamlessly transformed his everyday clothing into his signature blue robes. By the time of the Infinity War, Strange appeared to have mastered the power of the Time Stone, as he was confident in his ability to use it safely in battle. Realizing that the only future leading to victory required the snap to occur and Iron Man to survive, Strange willingly surrendered the Time Stone to Thanos in exchange for sparing Iron Man's life, thereby losing the ability to use it himself. At At the Sanctum Sanctorum, Doctor Strange was deep in meditation when he suddenly sensed a violent shockwave spreading across the network of reality. Space itself trembled like a living being crying out for help. Strange immediately understood that a universe-level destructive force had locked onto the coordinates of Earth 616. Trigon, the conqueror of countless worlds, had set his gaze upon Earth and deemed it his next feast. Without hesitation, Strange activated the Shield of the Seraphim, an ancient barrier that enveloped the city and halted the first wave of demonic energy from descending. Trigon did not rush to manifest. He unleashed corrupted avatars and torrents of destructive power, testing his opponent's response. After only a few brief exchanges, Strange grasped a terrifying truth. Trigon's magical power was not only comparable to Dormammu's, but vastly superior, dense and crushing, like primordial darkness itself. Trigon tore open the veil of space and descended upon Earth. His mere presence warped reality. Buildings melted like hot wax, the sky shifted in color, and humanity began to fall into a state of primal madness, an instinctive reaction to absolute evil. Trigon mocked Strange, viewing the Sorcerer Supreme as a tiny creature daring to perform before a god's hunger. Strange immediately opened the mirror dimension to isolate the battlefield. Trigon answered with a punch combining raw physical force and dark magic, shattering a dimension long believed to be invulnerable. He crushed Strange with corrupt energy, ripped his soul from his body, and assaulted his mind direct bride. The agony of losing his hands and the mistakes of the past were dragged out and magnified in an attempt to break Strange's will. Thrown into the rubble, the cloak of levitation torn apart, Strange realized that meeting power with power would lead only to defeat. In the middle of the battlefield, he abandoned physical resistance and entered deep meditation. His mind sealed shut, emotions stilled, and every attempt by Trigon to manipulate him was blocked. The Eye of Agamotto opened, but Strange did not use time, a force Trigon could resist. Instead, the light of truth erupted, shining directly into the demon's essence. As the embodiment of evil and deception, Trigon screamed as pure light burned him from within, weakening his connection to this reality. Strange summoned the flames of Faltine and combined them with a forbidden ancient sealing spell, knowledge he had learned from the most dangerous tomes. Strange did not seek to kill Trigon, because that was impossible. His goal was banishment. A massive teleportation circle opened beneath Trigon's feet, linking to a dead dimension where no life or energy existed for him to consume. Trigon roared in fury, clawing at the edge of the portal. With his remaining strength, Strange unleashed a final decisive blow, hurling the demon's colossal form into the void. The gateway closed. Reality slowly stabilized. Amid the ruins, Doctor Strange stood in silence, breathing heavily, knowing that Earth had escaped annihilation by the narrowest margin. The winner, Doctor Strange. I hope you enjoyed this battle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Follow me if you liked it. That is today's video. Thank you very much.